He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what then does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. That's the jumping off point for the series, for God's sake. But today specifically, we looked at a few other passages, including Matthew 5, where it says, you are the light of the world. You are the light of a world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Now, when we talk about this, Reed even brought up this idea of the scale. And in both instances, these have the allure or facade maybe of being scales, being lists, being do this and don't do this, right? That it says in Matthew that they might see your good deeds. And here, what does the Lord require of us? And now I just want to remind people that, our faith is not works-based. It is not something we have to strive for, but it is something we work from. We take up our cross, we deny ourselves, we strive to do good deeds because of what the Lord has done for us. And we got to get that right first, or else this stuff falls through the cracks, as we read in Isaiah. They did all the right stuff, but not for the right reasons. They did it on their own scale, on their own time, and it was not for the glory of God, and it was not from a place of understanding what He had first given them and graciously offered to them. And so we have to start at the cross, start with the gospel, and then go from there. And the truth is that the gospel is a picture of the cross too. Or the gospel, a picture of the cross, is a picture of justice. And so that is, of all places, where we get our scale. And when we say the foot of the cross is level ground, I just couldn't help but think during Reed's message, and he'll join us in just a moment, but I couldn't help during the message but think that a scale is going to be off if it's on unlevel ground. And so here we are. Every Sunday, we strive to get back to the base of the cross. If you're anything like me, throughout the week, you have a tendency to get up on your high horse, or, you're up on your mountaintop and either look down at everybody or you're in your valley. Woe is everybody. But the truth is that the foot of the cross is level ground, and you need level ground to have a scale that works. Oh, hey, Reed.
Jono, I forgot to come talk to you.
That's okay.
Oh my gosh, I was in
figured.
there singing away from the
Having
inside.
a great time, I'm
oh my
sure.
Gosh. Hi. Thanks for sticking around to hear us talk.
The good thing is, I read the scripture, and then I had a bunch of things that your sermon prompted in my, in my
very
thoughts.
cool. I heard about the level ground.
Yeah.
At the foot of the cross.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many people feel like ground has been level.
No.
These days.
No. Right.
And I wonder if this is an opportunity to see bringing justice as leveling the ground.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
Is we could feel like we are leveling the ground because of the way we treat people like Jesus treated people.
Yeah. And you just said something that can't be separated from this idea of justice. That it is this level ground. It's this get even, right?
Yeah.
Get even with them. And I'll never forget the Bible Project. This is a great resource if you want to go check out the Bible Project. They have keywords they'll do little videos for, and they have one on justice. And the whole idea of biblical justice is not that you would be on a high platform and judge everybody else and say, you have to get up here too, or be on the low one and judge everybody up top and say it's unfair. But that what Jesus did was he took the high position. We just read this at Easter.
Yeah.
And he stepped down.
Yeah.
And down and down. And he came down to the lowest of lows to be with us.
Yeah.
And it just brings a perspective on justice that I think is good for us to understand, that we have to say, I'm going to step down into injustice, not just try to raise everybody up.
That's a great way to think about it because it's the only way that works.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe one of the reasons that we can get so frustrated, and look, I get it. This is a loaded topic
Yeah.
right now, is the idea of saying, yeah, it's not their fault, whoever they is, and pointing and all that, because it just depends on which group you're in, who you think the they is.
Who's right and who's wrong? Right.
If you feel like you're in the poor section, it's the rich people. If you're in the rich section, it's the poor people.
Right.
If you're in this culture, you think it's this culture. If you're, and so none of that actually works. But this idea of going to the lowest common denominator, following the pattern of Jesus, is the only way that it can really work.
Right. And we think we're the experts on justice. We always do. I do. we think we know the scale in full.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, so if I have righteous anger, of course it's righteous because I know the requirements of righteousness.
Yeah.
And you go, no, I've broken them all.
Yeah.
Who am I to say I know the scale in full? Therefore, who am I to know what judgment looks like? That's why God says it's not yours to judge, mine. I am the judge. On the throne.
But isn't that an interesting, you've probably heard this, you don't judge, and so people ask me, so I'm not supposed to, does that mean there is no right and wrong? Does that mean, anything goes? And I always want to say, of course not. No, of course not.
Yeah.
But judge not is the action after you have taken stock of the situation.
Yeah.
And what judge not is, don't move away, move towards that person or that situation, regardless of how you have interpreted it as good or bad. Don't do away with that. God gives us standards. But whatever way you have judged the standard, you're moving towards that person or situation, not away from, not shunning.
Right.
Because that's Jesus just did the opposite of that.
Well, I mean, Micah even said it. He has shown you, O mortal, or as I like to interpret it, idiot. Hey, he has shown you what is good. I mean, that implies that he's the author of the standard.
Yes.
And so who better to judge?
Yeah.
But he doesn't say, well, just because it's like go to the court hearing. You might not be the judge, but go be with the people.
Yeah.
If you see an injustice, stand up for it, address it, be an advocate for it.
One last thing. Do you feel like that the corporate sometimes drowns out the individual, and when it comes to these actions? In other words, that justice feels like such a big, huge thing that I don't do the little, like, what can I do? I don't know. But there are so many little things that I can do in terms of treating people the way Jesus treated them. That is justice. That's where it starts.
Yes.
And so I just want to encourage somebody today to take a small step. Do for one. You may not have the capacity to do for everyone, but do for one.
Yeah.
And that really is the way that the kingdom works.
It is. And when we look at the life of Jesus, that's what he did. He did for one. He did not come and take over the throne in our kingdoms and say, oh, and look, I'm going to fix it all. No, he went to people individually, and he heard their story and listened to them.
Yeah.
And then he spoke truth and he led them.
Yeah.
And I just think, well, that doesn't sound as hard. It sounds very self-sacrificing. What did it say at the end of the Isaiah verse? If you spend yourself.
Wasn't that a great line? Spend yourself.
Man, it's like, so it sounds way more attainable, except the cost seems way higher. Everybody votes for corporate justice to be served and solved.
I'm spent. You ever heard somebody say that?
Yeah, until it costs everything.
Yeah, I'm spent for somebody else.
There you go.
There's a challenge.
There it is. That'll preach.
Act justly, love mercy, walk humbly.
Yeah.
Let's do it this week.
All right. Hey, we'll see y'all later. Stay tuned for more deeper stuff. We love y'all. See ya.
See ya.